Always considered charter schools, and I quickly found this out, as really the blend of politics and education. It's really the manifestation of a free market philosophy and the public obligation to educate our children. Schools have really taken off. I'd say the biggest exponential growth in charter schools has been in online schools. The Electronic Classroom of Tomorrow and the Ohio Virtual Academy are two of the largest charter schools in Ohio. The Electronic Classroom of Tomorrow is also founded by a big-time political donor, and that was an issue early on with the charter industry, is how and who is crafting the legislation to regulate these schools. Dr. Mackie Raymond. She is the head of the Credo Institute at Stanford University. What she did was she found a way to compare the academic growth of students in charter schools and traditional public schools. And she released a report a couple months before I went to Denver that really didn't look good for Ohio. It said that Ohio's charter schools are at the bottom academically in the nation, where a student would enter a charter school and end up nearly a year behind their peer in math alone. So that was kind of a blow to the state legislature, and it was an eye-opener. I think it really got the ball rolling. So people like Representative Rogner and Senator Peggy Lanner in the Senate really started to think about how we can start reforming these charter schools, get Ohio off that bad list. The free market works when the consumer is informed, and we've lacked information in Ohio for our consumers, which are our communities, our parents, and our children. We lack the resources to show them which schools are good and which schools are bad. We lack the resources to tell taxpayers exactly how your money is being spent, especially in a state where 75% of all misspending is found in charter schools. 5,800 agencies that are publicly funded in Ohio. I think by last count there was about 430 or so charter schools if you look at the OED website right now. In those 400 of the 5,800 publicly funded agencies, 3 out of every $4 is misspent. So that's a disproportionate amount of misspending in the money that's going into these schools. That's according to the state auditor. Some cities and some states have done it right. Some states and some cities have done it wrong. Ohio was one of the ones that looked like it did it wrong. And that's why we were in Denver. Because Denver was a city that said, charter schools aren't going anywhere. So what we want to do is create a brochure, a menu kind of for parents, so that they know every option that's available to them, public, private, or charter. And they can make decisions based on impartial, non-biased, factual information. And the state has done that, and Denver Public Schools has done that. And you can also see that in Cleveland. Cleveland has a portfolio model that's working as well.
House Bill 2 is a bill that I sponsored in the House in this General Assembly, and it addresses charter school reform. It was the first major piece of charter school reform that we've had, I think, pretty much since charter schools were enacted back in the 90s. It addresses transparency. That's something Doug Livingston spoke about that's very, very important. It talks about accountability and responsibility. Now says you need to clarify these performance standards. They need to be tied to report card measures. You have to clarify, what the facilities, the cost, the financing, and attendance policies. That's just that contract.
Our tact has been to look to make sure that those that do go to charter schools have the same rules and regulations as those of us in the traditional public schools. So that we were the first district in the state of Ohio to invoice the Ohio Department of Education for monies lost to the charter schools over the last 15 years. The invoice, which I have here, a copy of, was for a grand total of $5,027,058.38. We received no response, nothing, not a call. For every student that leaves my district to go to a charter school, the state deducts from our state funding a total of $6,800, but we only get $613 per student. So where does that money come from? It's local money that's taken from the school's taxpayers to subsidize charter schools. So that's where the $5 million comes from. We want that money back. We want state law to change so that all of our students are funded equitably, equally, and that our taxpayers are not footing the bill for students that are attending failing charter schools.